So the one thing I want to talk about in the DC Extended Universe is the struggle to find a slot in the live-action superhero genre. Unlike their CW counterparts that are quite successful, you could ask anyone who's their favorite representation of Flash, and they most likely say Grant Gustin. Now the reason for this is because when they're translating a character to television, you're giving more time for them to develop into better people, which is something that Ezra Miller Flash didn't get a chance to. I feel like that's a major problem with the live-action films. We're not given a chance to get to know these characters because we're focusing on the very cookie-cutter plot where they fight the CGI villain with the universally MacGuffin. You know how that all goes. That is also the reason why the Marvel films do so well. We're given a time to understand each member of the Avengers, right down from Iron Man to Hawkeye, and this is the one thing the DCEU better part lack. You can't tell me one defining trait of Superman's character because the films pretty much made him out to be a brooding godlike being who only pretty much saves Lois Lane exclusively, and that is not Superman. Instead of seeing Superman as a godlike Jesus figure and Clark Kent as an act, it should be the other way around, where Clark Kent represents who Superman really is. You don't look at Spider-Man and say Peter Parker is a facade, because we all know Peter Parker is the man behind the mask and represents the true feelings of the character. The first thing I want to touch up on is the personality of Superman. Superman should represent one aspect of a concept I like to call the Trinity, and the first phase of the DCEU should be called the DCEU Phase 1 Trinity. So to start off the cinematic universe, we would do Man of Steel with a couple of changes. In my opinion, Man of Steel wasn't as bad as some people would think. I felt like the film had good ideas, just bad execution. Snyder version did not give us a sense of hope for our character. I can see that he was going for much more of a darker, more complex Superman, but can he at least smile once or twice without being sarcastic?
You're scared of me because you can't control me. You don't, and you never will.
My version would pretty much be lighthearted with a hint of dark moments sprinkled in whenever needed. To begin, Superman is a young farmer during his mid-20s who just got a job at the Daily Planet. The first part of the film would generally focus on Clark's life, like he goes back home to the farm and his mom has a surprise party for him with a congratulation cake. He's welcomed by his friends Lana Lang and Jimmy Olsen, and with this we found out that Clark has pretty much a chill life. We also find out that his abilities are pretty much hidden for the most part. That's when you dive into his childhood, but in this version Lana and Jimmy play a bigger role in helping him control his powers, and having these two here actually helps Clark find out that he's not alone in this and he has friends and families to help him out. This kind of gives him a more optimistic point of view. Now we can keep the whole Jonathan Kent storyline where Jonathan tells Clark that look, you have to hide these because you may not know what the world would say or react to this, and it makes sense. If you think about it, he's essentially protecting Clark from the discrimination that he'll eventually have to face against. Which brings us to the infamous tornado scene. Now, what would I do to change this up? Well, it's pretty simple. Jonathan getting a heart attack would be the easiest way to go about it. Jonathan straining his body from saving people from a tornado is a much more clean and realistic point of view, as well as this is something that Clark wouldn't really have the tools at the time to stop. Now, it's much better than letting him die from a freaking tornado, which in my opinion, allowing yourself to die by a tornado is kind of fucking stupid. However, out of the respect, Clark noticeably holds himself back. What we'll do is to have him stumble across a spaceship in the barn covered with lead dust. Then Clark finds out that he's an alien this whole time from Martha, which is shocking for him. He goes on this soul-searching trip to find the Fortress of Solitude and is greeted by his birth father. Now he gets the whole rundown of what happened to Krypton, who is Zod and everything. Then it leads to Zod invading the Earth. You know how that goes. Him and Superman fight. Zod is obviously a better fighter. The one thing I would change is Superman trying to save people while fighting Zod and his men. What this does, it develops a better look for Superman in the public eye, where some would say Superman's fighting destroyed Metropolis while others rebel against, saying Superman was actually helping them. So the film would end with Superman saving the day and the public having a very diverse idea of what the hell just happened. They see this man flying around helping people out of the rubble, shooting lasers, and the next morning everyone has an opinion on the matter. Who the hell is Superman? And is he friend or foe, etc, etc, all that DC nonsense. This event would bring attention to metahumans to the mainstream. In my version of the DCEU, metahumans would pretty much be like those weird YouTube videos where you see where, oh, this guy can light his hands on fire type mess, whatever. See, something that really wouldn't be in the mainstream media. The events will send ripples throughout the world, allowing Clark to essentially become the face of the metahumans. Superman would pretty much give these people the one thing he is meant to do, hope. And that is how I would rewrite Man of Steel.